Welcome to the I Love Mondays podcast week in review.
I love Mondays with Mike Heller.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed bunker in the Badger State. This is I Love Mondays with Mike Heller. Powered by determination and a little bit of duct tape. Here's your host, Mike Heller.
So I want to bring in David Kaplan from ESPN 1000 right out of the gate. Cap, how are you?
I'm doing well. Great to be with you. It was a fun weekend for the Chicago National League Ball Club this weekend.
Yeah, I listened to you guys this morning. I know they were giving you a hard time about leaving on Friday night. I would be in your corner, anniversary, trying to get home for at least some of it. So I was on your side of that discussion, but I know you were in Wisconsin for the weekend, and those were three really good games with two very good teams, and I think it's a two-team race in the NL Central. I think the Cardinals are a good story, but I don't think they'll be there when we talk about the back half of August. Where do you sit?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Cardinals are a nice, cute story, that this team that they got rid of Arenado, they got rid of Sonny Gray, they took payroll down, and they said, we're not ready to win. And then they play. Nobody tells that to the players. The players just go play, and they've done a good job, but I don't think they're going to be there at the end. I do think the Cubs can absolutely, if they are willing to push some chips in and get a little bit more pitching in their bullpen and in their rotation, they can absolutely be there. I think the Brewers probably win the division, but I think the Cubs absolutely can be a force in the playoffs.
James wants to tell you that Jerry's Bar misses you.
Jerry's Bar is the best in Oshkosh. I have a house on Lake Winnebago in Oshkosh. And so I'm there just about every weekend. And so I came down from Oshkosh, went to American Family Field. It was my 22nd wedding anniversary. And so in the seventh inning, I went, all right, guys, I'm out. Yeah. Because my wife said, I baked a cake for you for anniversary. I like chocolate. Right. She doesn't. And so I came home, and there was this amazing cake. I'm like, all right, I'm glad I'm home.
All right, let's talk a couple of elements of the game from yesterday. Because I like to, we both are passionate about our teams, and you like to bitch about stuff when there's stuff to bitch about, and so do I. I thought Counsell made a mistake early with 2 outs in the second inning on Rollison, who seldom goes 2 innings, and he leaves him in even with a right-hander ready and Bryce Wilson, and then Sanchez burned him with a home run. Managers' mistakes matter.
They absolutely do, and I think he was trying to give Bryce Wilson and it was a clean situation, but I think he was trying to give him a fresh inning, Bryce Wilson. And he could have been the player of the game yesterday. I gave it to Jordan Wicks because he got out of the bases loaded, no out jam, and the Cubs won. Yeah. But I could have easily given it to Bryce Wilson, who saw a guy released, claimed, signed, brought in, and gone, here you go, big guy, 4 1/3 of no-run baseball. That was magnificent. But to win 2 in Milwaukee was an absolute shot in the arm for this team.
Well, and the Cubs win 2, and the Brewers threw their 2 best on Friday and Saturday, and then Woody on some. I mean, you get the Brewers' best, and I thought the 3 starting pitchers for Milwaukee were outstanding. I mean, Seiya Suzuki's the only guy who got at all to Miz or Hamilton or Harrison on Friday, Saturday, and then Woody didn't give up really anything yesterday. Here's my beef with the Brewers' decision. I don't know if it's Jason Lane, Chris Hook, or if Pat Murphy made the decision. Your guy, PCA, doesn't have a hit all weekend. I know he was hot coming in, but he went 0 for the weekend, and they walked him in the 10th with 2 outs, with a runner at second, automatic, and he's at third, and then you walk him with 2 outs. You're giving him second base. I thought it was wrong. I wonder how you viewed it. I know you're happy it happened, but I didn't think the Brewers should have walked PCA, who did not have a hit this weekend.
Yeah, I would have walked him there. He is outstanding with men in scoring position, well north of 300. He was due. He wasn't facing Miz or Harrison. He was facing a kid who was melting down before your very eyes. And I absolutely would not have grooved one to him. I would have put him on. Now, again, is he going to run? Yeah, but you also can't go, 3-0 on Bregman and then hit him. You got to throw strikes. And Bregman hasn't done anything. He's been terrible.
He didn't melt down until after the walk. He got the first 2 outs in the inning, and then he melted down after the walk, which I don't know if the walk put him there. Anyway, you can quibble on it. PCA has been great, and obviously he's very good with runners in scoring position, but you're actually walking into second base. And you know that 2 runs in the 10th inning beats you, 1 run doesn't typically. Let me ask you a question about your team, Cubs, as it sits, because their deficiencies still live in the bullpen and in health starting pitching. What does that front office need to do for you, for the Cubs, between now and 5 weeks from today or 5 weeks from now when the trade deadline?
I would add at least one pretty significant starting pitcher. I know they've had some discussion with the Royals about both Michael Wacha, who was outstanding on Saturday against the White Sox, pitched into the 8th inning. He was phenomenal. I would look at Michael Wacha. They're talking to them about Seth Lugo. Yep. Now, those are both older guys, mid-30s or above, but the price to go get, if he's available, Tarek Skubal or Joe Ryan, those are going to be extreme. And the Cubs don't have much in the tank for next year. Imanaga's a free agent. Not sure you want him back. Jamison Tyone, who's injured, he's going to be a free agent. Not sure you want him back anyway. Cade Horton's not walking through that door. Ben Brown's injured again. And so I look at the team. They've got to get some high-level rotation pieces that they control that they would have for next year. So Wacha, Lugo, those guys could plug and play next year. I would also look at adding a high-leverage reliever. Aroldis Chapman would be one guy I would absolutely look at. But Boston's coming off a sweep of the Yankees. Yeah. They may say, settle down, Sparky. We're going to see if we can get back in this wild card race. So we'll see.
Our former manager, your guy, Craig Counsell, was probably in some trouble 2 weeks ago. Where is he now?
When you say trouble, maybe trouble with the fan base, the Cubs were not moving on from him. How, no way.
Right.
That is Jed's handpicked guy. He's paying him $8 million a year. So, no, I do not think he was in trouble in that way. Look, do I think he's overrated? I do. I've consistently said that. I think he is a solid baseball man, and I hear he's a really good guy to play for. But is he $8 million? Is he that good a manager? I don't think he is. I think if you just look in the division, Terry Francona is going to go to the Hall of Fame. Pat Murphy has had a ton of success and won the last 2 Manager of the Year awards. I think it's fair to say Craig Counsell's the 3rd best manager in the division, but he makes the most money by a mile. I think if you added up all the other managers in the division, they don't get to $8 million.
Right. You were hot after Dansby Swanson 10 days ago. I don't know if he listens, but
he does.
He woke up. He woke up, and the last time we visited before the Brewers and Cubs met in May, I do think the Cubs have the best lineup in the division. The Brewers have scored more runs, but I think the Cubs lineup is better. What do you see as it happens now as we're officially into the second half of the season past the 81 game mark? What do you see and what makes this really competitive? Keeping this in mind that the Brewers and Cubs don't meet again until August 31st, a 4-game set at Wrigley, but they'll play 7 of 10 games against one another. The Brewers have the Reds in between. I don't know who the Cubs have in between, but they'll play those 7 games that remain essentially in 10 days at the end of August and September. What's going to be at stake?
I think the division will be at stake. I do, because I think that once the Cubs signed Bregman, they pushed their chips in and went, okay, we're trying to win the World Series this year. So I do think that they will take some of their farm system and go get controllable starting pitching. They'll get a fairly high leverage reliever. And then let's see. Alex Bregman's not going to be as bad offensively the entire year as he has been. I would bet that he will trend back toward where he usually is. That doesn't mean he's going to be Shohei Ohtani at the plate, but I think he'll be a better player. Seiya's starting to really come back again and be better. Horner looks better. I think they've got a really good team, and they got a superstar in Pete Crow Armstrong. So if they stay healthy, I do think this is going to be quite a race.
Cap, 2 final thoughts. I want to be aware of your time. You've got a commitment here in a couple of minutes. One, when we're talking about, you were talking about on your show this morning, the quarterbacks in this division, and you have Caleb Williams as the best quarterback in the division, top 6 or so. Did I hear you have him 6th in the league?
Yeah, I think I had him 7th, but the ranking, I was looking at Chris Sims. He has him 6th for NBC. Yahoo has Caleb 6th. Yahoo had Jordan Love 18th. Chris had him 15th.
Yeah, and the stats don't belie that. I know you trust the eye on this, and I trust the eye test on Caleb in the significant moments. The last time we visited, it is the workload that he has to do in quarters 1 through 3 that need to be better. Do you think that's just a maturation and a second year with Ben Johnson that happens? Because if it doesn't, he's not the guy you think he is unless he's that guy for the first 3 quarters and not just the 4th.
I agree. Everything you just said, 100%. I do think he has to be better quarters 1 to 3. I also believe he will be better quarters 1 to 3 because it's not sustainable to have 6 comebacks in the final 2 minutes. It's just not sustainable. Just like it's not sustainable to live and die on leading the league in takeaways. That's why they have to be better offensively. I think they have an elite all-pro level tight end. I think they have an excellent wide receiver room. They've got a solid to excellent offensive line. We'll find out about their pass rush.
Last thought here is, and we touched on this the last time as well, I don't know that Wisconsin, Green Bay, Milwaukee has been in a better rivalry moment than they are with Chicago than right about now. Brewers and Cubs going back and forth every year, and now Packers and Bears even maybe on this front. It's pretty damn good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing to see Bears, Packers. Bears have won 3 of the last 4, and then the Brewers and the Cubs. It has been outstanding rivalry stuff, and it's great for the fan bases too, because as Ben Johnson said, he said, F the Packers, and we hate the Packers, but he said they should say the same about us. And so it's going to be a lot of fun.
We do, Cap. It's a lot of fun. I know you got a lot of stuff going on. I appreciate you taking time to join us. We'll do it again when we get to August, and I look forward to the next time we get to visit.
You too. You're the man. Have a great day, okay? Stay cool.
Thanks, Cap. To call a friend, and that's Barry Alvarez. And, Coach, thanks for saying yes and jumping in to join me and to work through my little technical issues on the emails this morning. Thanks for being here.
Good to be with you, Mike.
So fill me in on your thoughts, although it's not been announced officially, on Sean Eichhorst. You and he have a history of when he was here, he was your deputy. I think that the Nebraska job was, you had a little something to do with his landing there. Your thoughts on Sean Eichhorst, if indeed he's the next AD?
Yeah, I think will be a great hire. Someone with experience, someone that knows Wisconsin. Understands the Big Ten, he's a veteran and has a vast background, including now Texas. So I think it's a home run hire.
When you come from, he's the deputy AD and the COO at Texas, which is a big business operation, and college athletics has for a long time been a big business, but the business model changed a few years ago. So he comes from a model that's pretty capable of managing what he will face here, correct?
Correct. Having been here, he understands this place. And then Texas is a big time operation, and he was in a decision-making position there. And I know he was leaned on heavily at Texas and respected very highly at Texas.
Barry, the model here works, and they have been successful here for a long time in a lot of sports. Men's basketball is in a great spot. Women's basketball appears to be on the rebound. Hockey on both sides is fantastic. Volleyball is extraordinary. The track and field, the other Olympic sports all do very well. But you know better than most that the engine is football. In your view, why has it not worked recently? And do you think they have figured out maybe the pathway to finding success with the engine again at the university?
Yeah, you're right, Mike. Football drives the entire program, and that generates 85 to 90% of your money. And so for the other sports to have budgets that allow them to be competitive, football has to be competitive, and you have to fill the stadium and be, and do a good job in that sport, which we did for a long time. I think it's just a slight step back, but I feel confident in the leadership that's there.
Yeah, and it appears, Coach, that they've found some budgetary dollars. Nothing's transparent in college athletics for those on the outside looking in at the amount of money spent on players, because we don't know that. It's not reported. It's not official. But it appears that some budgetary money has been freed up to go do that, because you have to pay your guys that are good to stay, and you got to go pay guys to come here, and then you got to promise some money on the recruiting front. Do you think not asking you to reveal, nor would you, the budgetary dollars, it appears that there's more right now?
Yeah. You know what, Mike? I'm not familiar with that. I'm not privy to the money that the more money that they've been allotted. I'm not. I was never involved in that, so I don't know what you're paying players. I don't. I know that's part of the game now, and I don't know those numbers. I don't stay on top of all that. So
right.
A lot of these questions going in that direction, I can't help you.
But if you had to compete with the Ohio States and the Michigans and the Penn States of the world, you knew you had to compete from an athletic standpoint of the guys you got. And you talked about building that wall around the state and getting the big linemen from here and going to get some other players from other places. What is the biggest challenge as you look at it now for a little bit on the outside looking in? What's the biggest challenge today? Is it still the same?
You know what? You still have to have players.
Yeah.
And I think Luke and the staff have changed their philosophy some from the time they came in, where now they're putting more of an emphasis on the in-state players, which I think you have to do. I always felt that the best players in our state are as good as any place. They can play anywhere. They can be competitive at any level, and you can't lose them. And and depend on going out and getting players of that caliber at other states and beating home state schools and having guys come halfway across the country. You're not going to beat those schools. So the key in recruiting and the key in keeping the talent is to keep our in-state talent. And I like the fact that there's an emphasis on that again.
Have you had many conversations with Coach Fickell? Do you visit with him regular or at all?
Not regular. I have visited with him. We were together at our Badger Desert Classic, and sat together on the way back, which was it's a long flight on the way back, and
it is.
Visited some, but I'm not in regular contact with him.
Yeah, I view the critics of the program certainly will look at the record the last 3 years and no getting around it. They own it, and Luke is. And when we've talked one-on-one, he owns it. He knows where they sit. This is a critical year, and yet it seems like they're in a good position to take advantage of what is out in front of them. Would you feel that way?
Yeah, let's face it. In college athletics, you have to win.
Yeah.
And you can beat around the bush and you can give all kinds of mumbo jumbo, but the bottom line is you have to win. And, I think they've recruited well. I think they've got good players. Now the bottom line is, we've got to win some games.
So Sean comes in, and your experience with him being here, he worked with you. What are your impressions? What's his greatest strength?
Sean's a bright guy. He's very intelligent. He knows the business. I think the fact that he's been here, he knows the lay of the land. He's gone to bigger programs. He ran his own program. He made mistakes. I think he'd probably be the first one to tell you he made mistakes at Nebraska. Had a chance to go to Texas, where they run as good a program as there is anywhere, and learn from there. So he comes in here with a wealth of knowledge and a background of Wisconsin and understanding Wisconsin. So I don't know how you could have hired a better person to step into that position.
Hey, I was hanging out with a little bit after our media scrum yesterday with Pat Murphy, one of your guys, and he wanted to make sure I said hello to you and Balboni, which is was that Chad that he called Balboni?
Chad Balboni, yeah.
He's a big fan of yours, and as you've watched him have success with the Brewers, my guess is you're not at all surprised.
No, I've always been impressed with Murph. We spend a lot of time together. Our offices are right next to each other in South Bend, and we talked a lot. His philosophy is much like mine. He coaches his guys like they're a football team. I was always impressed with that. So we've always kept a friendship and had great respect for one another.
Let me finish with a couple of thoughts. One, pretty exciting month for the extended family. As we all know, your grandson, Jake, he got married a couple weekends ago.
He did.
And I would hope that you were there, right?
We were, down in Miami.
Yeah.
Great wedding, beautiful ceremony, a lot of fun.
What is the biggest challenge that Sean Eichhorst will face when he steps into this role that he's about to undertake?
I think the first thing we have to do, we have to get football right. You know, and he's got to get solidly behind Luke and the staff and do whatever he can to support them and allow them to be successful. I think that's number one. Everything else takes off from there because, as you mentioned, our programs are all in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
It's not like you come in and have wheels falling off. The program's been run well, and you have good coaches in place. Now we have to get football right.
Yeah, this is quite a bit different than when Pat Richter took over and then a year later brought you in. It was in tough shape across the board. And as we've talked about, everything seems to be in place, but football is the engine. If you can't get football right, it's hard to get everything else right, even though they've been really good here. Is that a fair way to look at it? Yeah.
Well, football, that manages your budget.
Yeah.
That's the majority of your income comes through football. And, if that starts slipping, then your budget for the other sports goes down, and then the whole program starts to slide.
You weren't on this search committee. It's still my guess that you might have had some. Did anybody talk to you? Did you have some say, some influence?
I did not.
You okay with that?
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. And I know that obviously when Mac took over and he was your deputy, it didn't all work out right, but mistakes are made in business. And that's just part of this process. And I know that maybe you were disappointed. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Were you disappointed when Mac left?
You know what? Mac made a decision professionally for himself. So I think some people take that wrong and feel as though it's personal. I didn't take it that way. In my opinion, he decided he wanted to go in a different direction, had an opportunity to go to the conference level. And that's, maybe suits him better. I don't know if that's his choice, but I have no problem with that. And I just know this is a good job. I said that after it happened. It's a good job. We can find some good people to step in and run it. Yeah.
And I'll leave you with this. I got a chance to run into you a few weeks ago. You're doing good. Everything's you get home here for Wisconsin summer and enjoy this a little bit. And you're living a good life. Everything good?
Yeah, knees are good.
Yeah.
Able to walk and golf when I want. And yeah, I feel good.
Barry, that's fantastic. Thanks for coming on and spending a few minutes with me and sharing your thoughts on this. I appreciate it. I always want to be grateful to the time we get to visit, and I'm glad that you said yes. Thanks for doing this. And we bring in Rick Sweet, the manager of the Nashville Sounds. But for me, one of the coaches at Fantasy Camp maybe trumps that because that's my experience. Sweetie, how are you? Thanks for doing this.
Oh, I'm outstanding, and I look forward to it. It's good to talk to you again.
Yeah, I remember playing a little third base when you were coaching at third base on the other team in one of our afternoon games and being able to have a conversation with you. I'm going to sell Fantasy Camp here for just a minute because I'm 62. That week that I got to spend, and I hadn't been before, that week that I got to spend last January was one of the great adult weeks of my life because I was a ball player again some 38 years after the last time I stepped in a batter's box or on a pitching mound or took the field at shortstop or third base or second base. And Rick, you guys made us all feel like, hey, you are ball players this week. Do the right things, work hard, try hard, take care of your teammates. It is one of the great weeks of my adult life.
You know, I go there as a coach, obviously, and it is so much fun to be there, not only to be with the other players that come in to coach, but to watch you guys go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's pure entertainment for me. I love that week every year.
Oh, I spent a lot of time in the training room. I got to know John Adam and crew quite well throughout the week. Sweetie, let me ask you about Stallings, who came up to the Brewers yesterday. The Tyler Kepner piece about you with the New York Times a few weeks ago talked about one of the quotes in there. It's not yours, but I think it was Terry Collins, who said AAA managing is the hardest job in baseball because half the guys don't want to be there. They're either on their way down or haven't made it all the way there, or they're on a rehab or whatever that is. Stallings is one of those guys who he stayed with it, and a lot of guys don't. And I just wanted your thoughts on him coming to the big leagues for the first time.
Well, he's one of the guys that when he gets his opportunities, 28, maybe 29 this year, and has never been to the big leagues. And he's been a rock for us for 2 years here at AAA. He's taken the ball. He's not been a starter all the time. He's been on the development list. He just keeps, every time we need something, I go to Stahl. I said, hey, we need you to do this. And he goes out and gets it done. And we re-signed him early. The big league people, he was in big league camp, pitched a lot for them, and they just kept looking at him saying, wow, this guy is somebody we can trust and rely on. And that's what he is. And this opportunity has come up. There's not a guy in our clubhouse here in Nashville that is not happy for the fact that he is going to the big leagues. You can never take it away. He's a big leaguer.
How did you, some of my favorite moments, and I'm sure they are yours too, are when you tell somebody that they're going for the first time. How'd you do it with Stallings?
Well, you know what? I hate it because it was after the game. So he was already home. So I called him. It was probably about 11 o'clock, maybe midnight. I said, hey, Stahl, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, I'm cleaning up the house. I said, well, hurry up and get it done because you're going to the big leagues tomorrow. Dead silence. It's anytime I tell somebody they're going to the big leagues, especially the first time, it's either dead silence or you're kidding. And you know, you don't kid about stuff like that.
You don't kid about that. That would be a bad kid.
And I got to the ballpark the next day and everybody was mad that they didn't get to say goodbye to him.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that when you finally get to do it and send them up, it makes my job all worthwhile to know that this guy has what he's done for us.
And is it fair to say it's a little different when a guy like Stallings, who's 28 or 29, does it compared to Cooper Pratt, who's 21 and he's going? Is the reaction different?
The reaction's different because the young kid kind of just stares at you. I think you probably saw the clips of how I told him.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
took him out in the middle of an inning, and I haven't done that in probably 25 years, where I called time, go out, tell the umpire I got to change, tell the umpire the change, and then I pointed to Pratt out at shortstop. Pratt turned around and looked center field. He thought maybe I was trying to get a hold of somebody else. I said, "No, you get off the field." And he came running in, and you could see him going like that, like, what's going on?
What I do.
And oh yeah, well, and the thing is, most of the guys on the bench knew, but Coop, I don't think really realized what was going on.
Sure.
And when he came in, and I said, "Hey, hang on, I need to get on the phone." So I got on the phone with Tom Flanagan, and he told me, "Okay, we want to get it done now." We had a plan; we were going to do it after the game.
Yeah.
But then
They
it
didn't want to
happened.
wait.
Yeah, they wanted to, the big league club finished their game. And they said, "Let's get this done." So I took him out of the game, and I said, "Hey, all right." I shook his hand. I said, "You're going to the big leagues." And the smile that broke out, and you saw the enthusiasm
Yeah.
of every guy in the bench. We all knew he was still like it was settling in.
Yeah, Rick Sweet joining us. Sweetie, I was there on his opening night in Milwaukee, in the full, because he had the day off in between. So full
Right.
family made their way up from Mississippi, from the farm and everything else. So he had a big contingent. Now, I was in Murph's office yesterday. He didn't play. Cooper didn't play in last night's game. He's won for his last 19. This is not at all uncommon. Young players come up and the league sees something in them and they exploit it. But what about his makeup will allow him to overcome this 4 or 5 game little slump?
That's why we took him up. When he first came to me in AAA, he was susceptible to the same thing that they're doing to him now, which is the high fastball.
Yeah.
And over a period of time, he started laying off the fastball, getting him to get the ball down to where he can attack the ball and hit the ball. Coop's going to hit. That's the one thing we know he's going to hit. Defensively, he's got that slow heartbeat, man. I tell you what, you never see him get excited. He never panics. Every time a ground ball's hit to him, I drop my head and start writing,
Sure.
6-3.
Yeah.
And and obviously this is not a game where you get to be perfect. He'll make a mistake, and when he does, you go, "Oh yeah, I forgot he's human." So he defensively he's going to be there, but he'll make that adjustment again up there. I mean, it's at 21, you're going to continue to have to make adjustments. He has proven he can make adjustments, and he'll be fine up there. And I know with Terang and the veteran guys they have up there, because I know most of them too. They'll take care of the kid. He's going to be fine and be there for a long time.
By the way, one of your campers, Brian White, sent in a note. "Can't wait for my fantasy camp coach, Sweet Tea." So you listen. We got a lot of fantasy campers who pay attention to the podcast on a daily basis. I'm curious, Rick. You've spent your entire coaching career in the minor leagues. I hope this question doesn't sound bad. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I've been in the game a long time. I think what I've done I've 53 years I've been in the game. I've got to play in the big leagues. I have coached in the big leagues, although it's been about 20 years ago. I've not managed in the big leagues, but there's a song out there, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And I love what I do. I enjoy that. I enjoy today's players. I've adjusted to the changes in the game. The changes are not good. They're not bad. They're just different. And you don't see a lot of us gray hairs left in the game. And most of it's because it's changed so much. But would I like to get back to the big leagues? Yeah. I mean, that I still have that dream, because the big leagues is where it's at. But all the guys I get to send to the big leagues, that makes my job very satisfying, and I enjoy it.
So Tyler wrote that piece in the New York Times, and you talked about that. You don't understand why you've never interviewed for a job? Because you haven't been interviewed for a managerial job at the big league level. Do you have any sense as to why?
No, you know,
Okay.
I've actually asked a few friends of mine that have managed in the big leagues. I know a lot of the guys up there. I think he looked it up. I've either got 9 or 11 ex players of mine that have managed in the big leagues,
Yeah.
and I stay in touch with a lot of them. Andy Green just took over. You know, Andy played for me a long time ago. You know, I sent him a text message congratulating him and wishing him well, and he got right back to me. You know, so I've stayed in touch with all those guys. I think it's funny. I've been a guy that I contact them and stay in touch, and you know, I'm like the center point. The piece that kind of holds everything together. But no, I've never quite got or understood why. I've never been interviewed, even interviewed for a coaching job. The two coaching jobs I've had, actually, I didn't have to interview. They came straight to me and said, "Hey, we want you to do this." So, you know, it is what it is, and I'm not bitter. I don't hold it against anybody. If I don't fit with what they're trying to do, then I don't fit.
Well, I mean, you talk about having a great day. I think, and you have to do it on purpose. Great days just don't happen on you. But it seems to me that you have a lot of great days. But that's a choice for you. Is that a fair way to look at it?
I have a great day every day. I don't care how bad the night was the night before. I get up the next day and I have my coffee.
Yeah, there it is. Hey, I like that one.
I have my coffee and I get ready for another great day. And you know, I'm going to go to the ballpark here shortly and have another great day and enjoy it.
It is, coaching is always, you know, you got to coach, right? I mean, the fundamentals and making decisions, all of those matter. If you don't do those, it can't be just about relationships. But at its core, coaching and relating to the players and understanding what makes them tick and how you do that, it's a relationship business. So obviously you've had pretty good relationships for a lot of years.
Yeah. I work very hard at learning my players. If they're married, their families. One of my rules is if you bring your kid into the ballpark, he's got to come see me first. I've got peanut M&Ms. I've got goldfish. I've got everything to cover. I used to just have chocolate, but the moms would get mad at me because I'm giving the kids chocolate. So I make sure I have goldfish or something else for the kids. But I'm a family guy at heart, and all of these players are my family, and their family becomes my family. I feel very blessed to have as big a family as I have, because anybody that's played for me, they're mine.
Well, and I was talking to Murph about you and family yesterday before I left the ballpark. And so when you say that about your players, it's also true for you in your life and with your kids and your family, including adopted kids, or I don't know if it's kids or one, but he brought that up, and what a good role model you are in that way.
Well, I have a 38-year-old daughter with 2 grandsons. They both live in the state of Washington. I've got a son who is a coach at Bellarmine, and he is my adopted son, but he's my son.
Yes.
And you know, in fact, he's already called me this morning, talking about next year. He wants to know when I'm going to be done with this, because when he gets a head coaching job, he wants me to come and be his assistant. I said, bro, come on. You know, I'm 73. I don't know if I'm going to want to do that at 75, 76. And he just laughs at me. My wife knows I'm going to coach the rest of my life. If I weren't here in Nashville, I'd be at the local high school hanging on the fence saying, "Hey, coach, my name's Rick Sweet, and I'm in baseball. Would you like some help?" So and that includes you guys. You know, that week I spend with all you guys at fantasy camp, Rock calls me every year. "Hey, you're coming, aren't you?" And I said, "Rock, I'll be there for sure."
Yeah. And isn't it funny, like that week? So I'm 10 years your junior, and I want to get better when I'm there. And I'm going back again this next year, and I want to be better. I think that part of you, that kid inside of you, which is what you're living as a manager with the Nashville Sounds, that never goes away. And if that's in you, that's a good thing.
Oh, I've known since I was even in high school that I was, when I went to college thinking, okay, I want to go back to high school, be a high school counselor, and I want to coach at the local junior college in the state of Washington. That was my dream. That's what I planned on doing. And I never quite made that. Although I was an assistant coach at Lower Columbia for 1 year while I was playing pro ball, the thought was I'd always go back, and now I won't go back now. I'm too far into this.
Yeah. Rick, you're in a city that has a lot of stars, and a lot of the country music world are baseball fans. So have you had some fringe benefits in that regard with some of the music artists that come out and watch a little AAA baseball?
Well, they may come out and watch, but I don't get downtown too often. I go to the ballpark at 10, 11 o'clock, and I don't get home till midnight, 1 in the morning, and do my reports. So I'm more, I think if they come to the ballpark, I don't know it. Now, baseball people come, there's a lot of baseball people that live here. So I get to see them, but the fringe benefits I haven't, and that's probably my fault because all I do is baseball during the season.
Right. Yeah, I get it. This farm system, the minor league system that Matt Arnold and Klein and staff have put together is just, it's loaded with talent, and all of them come through you at some point. Who should we have eyes on? And maybe that's unfair for you, but Luis Lara is somebody that they've locked up. I mean, you got a bunch of players down there that can play it.
Well, you look at Lara. You obviously we locked him up. Wilkin had a great game last night. He's just starting to get into his zone. He had a 3-run home run in the 8th to put us ahead. He's a guy I think that's upcoming. We got guys in AA, Made, Fisher, guys that we just sent up that I've only seen in spring training. You look at the Milwaukee Brewers and what we've done in the last 10 years, and you have to marvel at the people up above that have been here that keep this whole thing on a roll. I was talking to Charlie Green the other day, who's the bullpen coach in the big leagues, and Charlie played for me. He swears I released him. I'm not sure I released him, but you never know. That happens quite often.
Sure.
But we were talking, and he was telling me, he goes, well, we got 50 wins, but he goes, we got to play better. And I said, Charlie, relax. I said, the Milwaukee Brewers expect to win every day they go out there, like the rest of our minor league system. If you look at our system, we won the first half in AA. We lost the last series of the first half to take second place in a 20-team league for the first half championship. When you play for the Milwaukee Brewers, whether it's in the big leagues or the minor leagues, you expect to win. And I think that's something that you build over time, and we have done that. And it starts with Matt Arnold and the guys up there, but it goes through our whole system. It's a system that we love, and we smile. As long as the big league club wins, we know everything's good.
Rick, what's the biggest challenge when a player is on that shuttle and they come back from Major League Baseball and rejoin you? Do you manage that when they come back? Do you make sure that you chat with them? Like that part of that has to be hard. How do you manage it?
I've been doing it so long. First thing I do is sorry to see you. Okay. Yeah. Obviously he's not happy coming back. They never are happy coming back. But once they get there, I shake their hand, I look them in the eye, and most of the time they've already played for me before, so they know me. I said, all right, we got a plan. We got a plan to get you ready to go back up there. Whether it's a hitter, a pitcher, it doesn't matter. We've got a plan. I give them a day or two of slack to, okay, get comfortable again. I may ask them, I said, you ready to play today, or you want to take a day, get your head straight? And it's 50-50. Some guys go, no, I want to play. Let's go. And some guys go, nah, I'll take a day. I give them a day, but then I get right back on them. All right, you want to get to the big leagues, you got to do this. And they know I care for them. The biggest thing that I have going for me is my players know I care more for their career than my career. I'm there for them, and I will do everything I can to help them, so they trust me. And yeah, but it's communication. You're right. I shake their hand. I look them in the eye. Hey, sorry to see you, but let's get back to work. We got to get you back up there.
We've established you've done this for a while, but we've all seen the movies and read the stories of things that go on in minor league baseball. So give me one or two, Rick, that you have experienced in this career, this what will be a record-setting career when it's all said and done. Give me one or two that stand out like you wouldn't believe what happened here.
Well, I think, I'd go back to my first year managing, which I was not a good manager. It took me 3 or 4 years to become the manager, the type of manager I wanted to be. But, I go back to Griffey and making him cry, which wasn't what I wanted to do. But, having a 17-year-old and
was that in Bellingham?
What's that?
Was that in Bellingham, Washington?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was playing. Well, the rule is you got to be out there running, getting loose before the game, 15 minutes before the game. Well, he's talking to a couple girls in the stands, as 17-year-olds will. And I'm sitting there, and he's not 20 feet from me. He can see me. He knows me. And I'm watching him. I'm just like, what are you doing? The whole team's out there getting ready. Yeah. And the umpires come walking out. So I'm thinking, okay, I scratch his name off the lineup, and I walk by him. I said, hey, Griff, you're not playing. And I walk out to the umpires, give him the lineup. Well, the bad part is I forgot to put his name on the bottom with extras, so I couldn't have played him later if I wanted.
Him anyway.
Yeah. But I scratched him, and I got back to the bench, and he's sniffing. He goes, well, why? And I said, Griff, you know the rule. He goes, yeah, but did you see? I said, yeah, I saw what you were doing. You were talking to those nice young girls. And I said, that means you don't want to play. So, obviously he's sniffing away, and we play the game. I don't know if we won or lost. I mean, but the point is, the reaction was not there, was surprised me. I mean, he's been in the big leagues. He's been his whole life. And here, this 17-year-old is, I talked to his dad that night, and his dad and I were friends, and his dad goes, yeah, he goes, he's all yours. He goes, good luck to you. So, I said, okay, now I'm learning this game, but, I have to go back to somebody, people in Milwaukee who remember Nate Orff. Nate Orff was a guy in AAA for me that did everything we asked. He was a really good AAA player. Probably good enough maybe to get a cup of coffee in the big leagues, but he did get that cup of coffee. And the day I got to tell him is one that I remember. We were playing in Round Rock, Texas, and I got the call. Tom Flanagan called me. He said, hey, we want you to videotape it, because he's the type of guy everybody loves. So we knew there was going to be outpouring from his teammates. So I got the video guy, and I said, hey, here's what I'm going to do. I want you to videotape this. So I walk in the clubhouse after the game, and I stand on a chair, said, hey, I want your attention. Well, usually, when I want to talk, everybody's going to listen.
Yes.
And I couldn't see Nate anywhere. I had guys coming out that were in the shower already, and they're coming out, and, they got their towels on, and I'm looking around. So I have to stand up on the table so I can see everybody, because I can't see Nate anywhere. And I'm looking around, and everybody's staring at me like, okay, what do you got? What do you got? And I look around, and then I finally see him over in the corner. He's getting ready. And I just pointed at him and I said, "You, Nate Orff, you're a big leaguer." And the place erupted. They absolutely. I just turned around, and went back to my office, and I didn't talk to him for probably an hour after that because they wouldn't let him up. And it's that satisfaction that you have getting to see a guy that's worked his whole life get that opportunity to go to the big leagues. Never goes away. I got goosebumps right now just talking about it.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the Bellingham story just for a minute. And I don't know how great you are with all the players because you've had a lot that have come through. But I'm kind of doing this for my Appleton listeners, which is where I grew up.
Oh,
my
yeah.
high school teammate and my UW Oshkosh roommate, Kevin Reichert, also broke in Bellingham, which I didn't know was
that team.
You. He was on Griffey's
that team.
Yeah. And Kevin got sick with colitis, which he lost a lot of weight and he was a really good ball player, roommate of mine throughout college, and a good dude. But I didn't know he played for you.
Yeah, about 6-7 years ago, maybe not quite that long, 5-6 years ago. Anyway, he reached out to me here in Nashville. And he actually came through town. I met him after the game right next door. There's a place. We sat there and had a beer and had a bite to eat and reminisced about all the great times we had. So absolutely, he tell him I said hi. He's a great. He was a solid player on that team. He was one of the guys. Todd Haney from Texas was another guy that I could rely on because I had all these young kids. 17, 18-year-old guys. And then I had guys like Kevin that are probably 21, 22, much more mature. I remember that well.
Yeah, that's good. So God willing, you're going to end up setting a record, becoming the all-time winningest manager in minor league baseball history. What will that mean to you when you get that number? I say when, and it is a God willing, but when you get that number, what will that mean?
I've thought about that. I really didn't. This didn't come up till last year. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and all of a sudden, a couple people came to me. Tom Flanagan being one of them. He said, "Hey, we just were told that you're close to this record here," and so I didn't think much of it, and I still don't. It comes up like stuff like this, and when I win a game at a ball game, I don't think, "Oh, that's one more. I'm one more closer." Right. But I think now that I think about it, and I look back at all the years and all the guys that pop up that like Kevin Reichert, it'd been 25, 30 years since I had seen him, talk to him. That's going to be. My life has been involved with helping others with their careers, but I also work on life skills, teaching life skills because most of them don't make it. Kevin never made it, but I like to think that I helped him with his life skills outside of baseball. I'm gonna be just sitting back thinking of all the people and waiting for people to get a hold of me. I love it when ex-players get a hold of me. I've never had to work a day in my life. I put on a uniform and go out and sweat and get dirty every day for a living and love every day of it. So I've never had to work. I play a game of pure entertainment for other people. And it's gonna be fun when I retire, if I ever retire. But it's already, that satisfaction's already starting to creep up on me.
That volunteer assistant coach job will always be there for you, Rick Sweet. Let me finish on this. You are motivational and upbeat, but I would also guess, like even in fantasy camp, I don't think anybody want to do anything to make you upset. What upsets you? Like you come off very positive, but I think there are some non-negotiables. What makes you angry?
Don't lie to me. Don't play games. Don't lie to me. I'm very, very honest, upfront. Don't lie to me. if I ask you a question, give me the answer, and we'll work through it. But don't lie to me. And that's it's funny. The one thing that really gets me going is that not being honest. And I don't expect him to come to me all the time. But when I ask a question, I want an answer. And when I'm looking you in the eye and talking to you, and return it. Look me in the eye and let's talk. Let's get this done.
Have you, I'm sure you have, taken a player out of a game for lack of effort? I suppose that's also a non-negotiable for you?
All the time. It happens. It's happened twice this year. And in both instances this year, the player apologized to me. It wasn't, they weren't mad at me. They knew I'm doing what I have to do for motivation, for the other players on the team to know that you got to play this game the right way. If you're going to play for Pat Murphy and the Milwaukee Brewers, you got to play the game the right way. And these guys that I send up, I'm very proud of what they do when they go up there and how they handle themselves. They're professional, and that's what we do. So yeah, I've taken them out of games.
Rick, you mentioned earlier that you've adjusted as the players have adjusted, but there are other elements of the game that haven't changed since even when you were playing. Is that also a fair assessment? The players desperately want to win. They're competitors. If they're not going to make it anyway. But is that part of the game stayed true to the game that you played when you were still getting all the way there?
You can't get away from the fact that winning is an American way. That's an American way. It's not just a baseball way. We strive to win every game, everything we do, we strive to win. And that is the truism in the game. Is guys don't go out there and just go through the motions halfway, because they have too much pride in themselves and what they do, and that's the motivation.
Sure is good to visit with you. I appreciate you doing this. I know what you're going to do today is you're going to go out and have another great day, because that's the way you approach it every day. Thanks for sharing some time with us, and I'll look forward to the next time we get to do it. And I'm already looking at the calendar, waiting on January and fantasy camp again.
Oh, I'm sure Rock will be sending out the information soon.
You will.
Good to see you. Great to talk to you. And, I've already had a great day getting to talk to you.
Rick Sweet, thank you. Appreciate you. Who has been working a lot. Vinny, one of the things that I was up in the booth the other day talking to Lev a little bit, and so I need to make a habit of this to get the latest cribbage update. But because you haven't done games since the road trip, has it remained the same? Are you guys on the same path right now?
I have a 3-game lead. So
yeah, that's what it is.
I was up 8-0. So I was told it was total domination. Yeah. It was like basically Jacob Mizorowski versus the Cincinnati Reds or whatever. He has crawled back into this to make it a match. And look, I like that, because you don't want to just not make it competitive or fun, because Jeff he gets a little butthurt a little bit when he's losing. So I mean, honestly,
no,
I did
last week. You did not lay off. It just happens. The cards have been
better. It just happens. Don't get me wrong. I would love to bury Jeff every time I have, but now that it's a competitive series this season, it'll be a lot more fun.
Are you what's your strength? I mean, do you manipulate the pegging game, the counting game? I mean, is that one of your strengths? Do you win that?
Yeah. Look, I like to try and say that I'm a great strategist when it comes to cribbage. I'm really not. I really haven't read any strategy books or any forums online.
You're not a card counter.
No. It's kind of the luck of the draw. And Jeff is not either. Let's not mince words here. Jeff is not a great strategist either. We have fun with it.
I forgot to ask him the other day. Are you as much of a reader as he is? He's kind of a voracious reader, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's always got a book. No, I'm not. Jeff, one of his strengths in the booth with how he does his job, and Mike, is like it's hard to be a play-by-play guy, especially for multiple sports. And Jeff has like a photographic memory, and so
helps.
I know he puts his prep work in for the Brewers stuff. I know he does. He's excellent at it. But it doesn't take him that long. He can read the notes and kind of have it. I study a lot, and I do a lot of work off camera. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you heard it because you're a little busy. You got stuff going on. But I had Rick Sweet on the show yesterday. Honestly, one of my favorite interviews that I've done, and he's one of my. And I don't know him that well. I knew him. The only time I've had a conversation with him prior was multiple days at fantasy camp when he comes in and sits down at your table for breakfast, or when I'm playing third base and he's coaching third base. I mean, I didn't have a ton. But wow, is that dude an interesting, fun guy to talk to?
He is amazing. In fact, Mike, he is so awesome and such a great baseball guy. I have no doubts that he could take over and be a great big league manager. He would be great. And he's just not gotten that opportunity. And how old is he now? He's in his 70s, isn't he?
He's in his 70s. I asked him about that yesterday. He's never interviewed for a managerial job or a Major League Baseball coaching job.
Wow.
He's been a coach in Major League Baseball, but he's been appointed. Like something happened with somebody and they brought him in but he's never interviewed, which I find extraordinary. And I can't help but think if I were in the same scenario, I'd feel bitter. Maybe privately there's some bitterness for him, but you won't get it in an interview or a conversation. He's just not going to go there. That man, he lives on the positive side of life every day.
He brings it every single day, and the players feel that. Players love to play for Rick Sweet. Someone's got to write a book or make a movie about him someday, just for his whole journey in the game of baseball. He's a lifer. He has done it the right way. There's a lot of people that haven't done it the right way. And I'm not even talking about the old school versus new school. Talk about the game and where it's gone. I mean, even in the old school, there were guys that would not do it the right way and kind of be in it for themselves and worry about their own careers. Rick Sweet has never lived a day of his life thinking with that mindset of making it about himself. He's always made it about the players. And it's kind of weird, this game, and it's the luck of the draw, who gets the opportunities and who doesn't. And that goes for not only, players, that obviously happens for players a lot, but that goes for coaches, that goes for front office people. I know getting into the game, Mike, when I was with, the Texas Rangers in their front office as a pro scout, there are people that I would rub elbows with and think, oh my goodness, this person would be amazing in this particular role, and might not even have been with the Texas Rangers organization, just kind of rubbing elbows with people in different organizations. But they've been in the game for 30 years and have stayed in the same position their entire careers. It's just like, it doesn't make sense sometimes. It's all about who is appointing these people and they're giving them shots. And, but Rick Sweet at this point is so valuable to the Brewers, and that's kind of cliche to say, but I don't know where the Brewers would be without Rick Sweet and his ability to develop these young talents at the AAA level and have them ready and have them not get bitter and have all these guys be ready to contribute to the major league roster. And we're talking about even non-roster invites and like 30-year-old free agents that Rick Sweet gets, helps them develop, and then all of a sudden they're guys that can help at the major league level. It's been so much fun to get to know Rick Sweet, and he's a one of a kind. He's a unicorn, and he's just awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
You can share and relate to this more than the rest of us, because I talked to Sweet about this yesterday. The only guy that wants to be there is the guy ascending from Biloxi that just gets called up to AAA.
Yeah.
Everybody else, if you've been there a couple of months, you don't want to be there. You want your shot. And the other guys that are there that are yo-yoing or being sent down, I mean, he has to live in an environment where half the roster, if not more, doesn't want to be there. They think they belong in the show, or they just, however that works. I mean, you can relate to that. You don't want to be at AAA unless you just got promoted from AA.
Right. And here's the thing. Here's a little subtle kind of nugget about what you just said, is that all right, so guys that got sent down from the big leagues to AAA, they've got something to work on usually, unless it was just a roster crunch and then they're there and then they know they're going back. So they got something to work on. Non-roster free agents, same thing. A 30-year-old that played in the Orioles organization for their entire career now signs over with the Brewers. They also have something to work on. They don't want to be there, both those players. Okay. But that's important that they don't want to be there. Because why?
Yeah, right.
Because you don't want to have the guy that makes AAA their big leagues.
Yeah.
You don't want to have that guy in your organization that makes AAA their big leagues and they're just happy to have a job. You want those guys striving and making adjustments. And so that's where Rick Sweet comes in. And it's like, I have a bunch of players that actually don't want to be there, but I don't want them to want to be there. You know what I mean? So it's pretty subtle thing that he's got to get the most out of these guys. He's got to get these guys to make adjustments.
All right, let's bring it to the big league level, and I'll just finish on this on the Sweet conversation. It's in yesterday's podcast, which is Wednesday. If you didn't hear it, go back and listen to it. Do yourself a favor, not for me. Listen to him. He's good for the soul. He's good for you. So if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it. Let's talk about this team, this Brewers team. I want to get to the matchup today because that's so amazing. We'll get there in a minute. But Garrett Mitchell last night has his first ever Major League 4-hit night. And we've seen him do things. And Vinny, you're a scout at your core. There have been holes in his swing. They have been able to take advantage. Much like Cooper Pratt right now, the high fastball has not been Garrett Mitchell's friend. What has he done? What is he doing? And it's always a work in progress. You've never arrived. But what has he been doing that has allowed him, especially with all the injury background where he hasn't been able to do these things on a regular? What's going on in his game? What do you see?
Yeah, so if he is able, and he is one of the things, Mike, that if he does not, no, I'm not saying go 4 for 4 every night and be 3 feet away from going and hitting for the cycle. I'm not saying do that every night. I'm saying if he can do and just be consistent with his timing, to answer your question, what's he doing? It's timing, but it's also what Jason Lane has these guys, and it's a philosophy up and down this hitting group and this offensive group is Jason Lane has these guys being 100% totally convicted on seeing the baseball with clarity. Now, what does that mean? So having your mind be clear in the batter's box is the hardest thing to do in life. Yeah. Okay. It's like this ball's coming at you 100 miles an hour with nasty spin. You don't know if it's a fastball or a breaking ball, all that stuff. We've described how hard hitting is, but to be present in the moment and to have your thoughts clear on just seeing the baseball is a revelation to a lot of these players. And I think Garrett Mitchell, I think he's making some adjustments towards that. Now, you're not going to be perfect with this every night. Sometimes things are going to creep into your mind. Sometimes you're just not going to see the ball that well against the guy. Right. And so in order to just get back to baseline of I'm going to be present in this moment and just see the baseball with clarity. When Garrett Mitchell's doing that, it looks like he's making that adjustment towards not swinging and missing at the fastball up in the zone, that upper third fastball. And when he's not doing that, he's able to attack the ball out in front of himself and drive it to the opposite field. So people think, okay, you got to, and we say it all the time on the broadcast, see the ball deep and take it to the opposite field. Well, Garrett Mitchell, actually, he does not want to see the ball too deep, okay, because then it's by him. He's got some sort of timing thing with his vision and in the way that front foot lands where if it's too late, he's made up his mind too late. So he's got to see the ball further out in front of him and then attack the ball out in front of him. And he's capable of doing what he did last night. That is impressive. Yeah. It is. And he has so much talent that it looked easy last night for him to hit a flick of the wrist, 109 miles per hour off of his bat line drive off the top of the fence, opposite field, same kind of thing, like right down the line, hits rockets. Not everyone can do that. Trust me, guys can't. They don't grow on trees with this kind of ability. So he's kind of the thing that if he stays consistent with doing that, and I'm again not saying 4 for 4 every night, I'm saying if he can just kind of be consistent with that approach for the rest of the year, and just kind of manage these ebbs and flows a little bit more, then where do you get outs in this lineup? Because my goodness, are they dangerous with him swinging the bat?
Yeah, and it brings me to Sal Frelick, who does all the things now for the last month where he's hit well into the 320s or above. He's let the ball travel. And I don't know if that's a mindset for him, because he has always been at his best when he has taken the ball the other way and not had that big back leg fall back, looks like he's trying to hit it to the upper deck swing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if Vogelbach or Lane or whoever has been working with him in that, or if it was individual. Do you have a sense of what Sal's trigger was to become Sal Frelick again at the plate?
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's that. Well, first of all, he was not having success early on in the season. So early success actually is very, very important to these players. And I think we've talked about this in the past, Mike, where all of a sudden it gains you confidence and all of a sudden you can feel like you're settled in. Every season, I don't care what level you're playing at, every season presents its new challenge of getting over the hump of the doubt. Unless you're a superstar in this game that is making $200 million, in your contract, like you are always searching for that reassurance that, can I do this? This is really difficult. Can I do this? And it starts at the beginning of the season. Sal Frelick didn't get that early success, and he all of a sudden it snowballed on him, and now he is kind of in your brain. Eventually says, I'm better than this. You snap out of it. You go back to your old approach. But you hit the nail on the head. I see the exact same thing. When he is allowing the ball to travel, but not trying to just fillet it over there and just kind of like poke it over there, actually trying to swing the bat and drive it over there a little bit, then that's when he's at his best. The pull side home runs that he hit 12 of them last year. That's just a reaction for him. If he is at all trying to get the head out and pull the baseball, then he is kind of toast, quite frankly. So I'm with you. When he is doing that, he's been great the last month. So he's kind of forcing the organization and Murph's hand to continue to play him just because he's so good defensively and right, and he adds so much to the pitching and defense side of things that now all of a sudden he's swinging the bat. You got to keep him in the lineup and ride the hot bat right now in Sal Frelick.
Yeah, and it's not. This is my podcast, but it's not about me. But I got my hand raised because I have asked you in recent weeks, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, about the possibility that Sal was a trade piece, or he's not in their everyday outfield because Luis Lara earns a spot. So I think it's important when you look at things and react in the moment to come back to it and say, hey, I was wrong on that. To me, there are multiple layers of that too. I watched the Woodruff interview during the game the other day, and Sal had, I think, stretched the single into the double in his first at bat, and then had a face full of dirt. And Woody's talking about, he's us. He's that guy right there. He's who we are. I'm like, okay, step back. Mike, don't talk about trading Sal again, or that he doesn't belong in a lineup, because some guys are you. They embody who you are. And I think am I right? Sal's one of those guys.
He takes on the personality. He embodies the personality of the team, which again, I think the team embodies the personality of the fan base in the state of Wisconsin. Sure. So this is why everyone is getting on board and loves this Milwaukee Brewers team and the way that they play. And Sal is, there's so many different leaders on the team and on that roster, and he's one of them. And he's still young, and he is definitely one of them. And so you have to be very careful about, talking about it. They have to be very careful about the dynamic that's going on in that clubhouse. Yep. So that's we all know that. Now there is that elephant in the room, though, that Luis Lara is down in AAA, already signed to a big deal. So how do you balance that? Murph will find a way. The organization will find a way. I do think Sal's a guy that's going to be a Brewer until he's a free agent, basically. So,
right.
But, yeah, but we have to talk about the potential, especially when he wasn't swinging the bat real well. So, you just at some point, and even though even the players know that, because look, take Joey Ortiz for an example. He is a leader in that clubhouse, a quiet leader, and the players and the guys love him. He is a staple in that clubhouse and in the organization. So he is one of the guys that everyone rallies around. Look how everyone reacted when he hit that big 2-run home run, just the second of the year. So everyone loves that guy as well. So, but everyone also understands in that clubhouse that he was and is kind of a lower performing offensive player to this point in the last 2.5 years. So they do understand, okay, you have this other kid who also feels like a Milwaukee Brewer and Cooper Pratt. So they just kind of wrap their arms around everybody, understanding that Joey Ortiz is going to be a good utility guy and he's going to have a role in that team going forward. So same thing with Sal. They all understand this is the big leagues. We want you on our team. We're going to try and make this all work. And Murph will do that. Murph will figure out a way. And look, moot point at this point with Sal swinging the bat.
Yep. Yeah, very much. Two things working through. Give us a sense of what's going on with Cooper Pratt, like up here in between the ears and the physical side of it. Because right now, Murph gave him a day off a couple of days ago. He said he called him into his office. They had a good conversation, but he's swimming, right? I mean, drinking from a fire hose kind of a concept. What do you see in Cooper Pratt, and how does this evolve into becoming a guy who isn't swinging up here at high fastballs?
Yeah, swinging at balls at his neck, right? So so as a player, kind of the challenges that you have to work on. And what Cooper Pratt was doing in the minor leagues is he was actually taking very hittable pitches early in counts and then expanding the zone a lot later in the counts. Now, he wasn't striking out or walking, but he was expanding the zone and fouling pitches off. So actually with 2 strikes, he was actually chasing quite a bit, even though those walk numbers are way up in AAA. So 34 walks, 37 punch outs. Very good ratio there. But again, if you look under the hood a little bit and see, okay, wait a minute, he's actually taking hittable pitches early. So okay, in a nutshell, what's happening is in the big leagues, they will figure that out very, very quickly. And then the word spreads around the league. Okay, there's teams of people that's their job in every single front office. How do we attack this guy? This is what he's doing. In AAA, not so much. They try to expose you a little bit, but it's just not as in depth. And there's not as many arms that can execute the plan, right? In AAA. So that's the plan that's going on right now. You watch, they're attacking him early with hittable pitches. He's taking them, and then all of a sudden getting the 2 strikes or even fouling them off. That's part of this too. Like, he's not fully ready and committed to that pitch that's hittable early in the count. Okay, so that's when you see like very hittable pitches being fouled off. A player's mind is actually not fully committed. So here it gets to a point as a player where like what they're trying to do to you. So then you start overthinking about it, and instead of just competing in the moment, it's a psychological mind game. This game of hitting in baseball, and so he will snap out of it. We're seeing the struggles now. He'll snap out of it, and he'll start to make these subtle adjustments. It's going to take time. It's definitely going to take time. Hopefully, while it's taking time, he can survive and have some results. That's the thing about this, Mike, that as you're trying to make these adjustments, especially at the big league level, you want to try and have some results in order to help the team win. That makes you feel like you're being helpful and you're part of it and you're contributing to the offense. And so hopefully that's what we see here. Don't expect too much, in my opinion, from Cooper Pratt here this first year. Look for the adjustments, and then hopefully, again, he can survive with some results, but play the great defense, of course, and continue to run the base as well.
Yelich is in a bit of a slump. Got the day off yesterday. Many times, this is unfair, but many times when we've seen him slump like this, it's been that he's not 100%. He's not healthy. Back's bugging him. Something's bugging him. But the Brewers need Yelich to be the better version. And right now, baseball it ebbs and flows. And right now he's in whatever the negative side of that ebb and flow is.
Timing. It always comes down to timing. When you see Christian Yelich just peppering the ball to the opposite field, but then all of a sudden he's able to get the head out on one of them, and again, just the reaction and pull a fastball. That's when you know Yelich is locked in. Haven't seen that in a while. He's working his tail off in the cage with Vogie and with Jason Lane and with Eric Tyson and Guillermo Martinez. This hitting group is phenomenal. And so he's working his tail off. With Yelich, he's got those long levers. He feels like a little bit at times of an overthinker, despite all the accomplishments and all the success and the MVPs and the great year last year. So, but again, it is such a psychological game. No one is immune. Right. No one is immune to it. So hopefully he can snap out of it. I hope he's feeling okay. I don't know if we would get that. If we would get
that,
you
don't find out until after, right?
Right. Yeah. So hopefully he's okay, because they definitely need him. Especially if he's swinging the bat. Again, I say that about Garrett. I say that about Mitchell, Vaughn, Bowers, Contreras, and Churio. When those six, I think only 2 or 3 need to be in terrain.
When you talk about those 6, you need 2 of them at the same time.
Or 7 if you include 3. So there's 7 guys. That's a lot of guys that are capable of carrying your offense, because that's the kind of talent that those guys have. Not every team has that. So they've got so many different guys that can hurt you, but you got to have 2 or 3 that are swinging the bat at one time in order to score runs.
All right, two final thoughts, and then let you go because you've got to get to the ballpark. Yeah. One, the Cubs have been red hot. They've won 9 of 10. And by the way, in that 10-game run, and their winning runs have expanded beyond the 10 games. However, they picked up 1 game. I mean, the Brewers winning 8 of their last 10, the Cubs 9 of the last 10. There's only been a 1-game shift in the division while the Cubs have been white hot. But we do know this about the Cubs. It can be an extraordinary lineup, and they are right now. Even though they didn't score much in Milwaukee, they did take 2 out of 3. Pitching is going to be their question. Offense is not their question. It has become now a separation. It's a 2-team race. I know it's early, but it's a 2-team race. Fair?
That's fair. I don't think anyone's going to battle for the division. There's going to be the Pirates for sure, and the Cardinals will battle definitely, I think, for the wild card, just the way. Yeah. And I think Pirates more so than the Cardinals. I think Cardinals are probably going to fall off at some point, personally. But I Cubs. So talk about when you see a team that's swinging the bat well, kind of like, okay, that's a difficult team to beat. Mm-hmm. That's how good the Brewers pitching has been, though, that they shut that Cubs lineup down in that 3-game series. You notice what happened to the Cubs offense after they left Milwaukee. They scored 23 runs yesterday. Now, I know they did that against some position players or whatever, too, with the Padres, but 23 runs in a ballgame. So, and Pete Crow Armstrong, I mean, he's scary. I'm just going to say it. He is a scary bat when he's made kind of a crazy adjustment since we saw him in May, who was terrible.
And he had no hits in Milwaukee. He had 0 hits in Milwaukee.
Yeah, you're right. Pitched around him a bunch, though, right? Because they were scared of him. But he in June he had one of the most historic Junes ever. So hopefully he cools off. Otherwise, he might win the MVP. But yes, that's a scary offense. Their pitching is troubled. So all kinds of injuries. So I do think the Brewers are the better team in the Central still. But when that hot Cubs offense is hot, they're hard to beat. And we saw that in Milwaukee. So
Cardinals go in there. The Cubs have a day off today. Cardinals go in for the weekend. And you hope that St. Louis actually wins 2 out of the 3. However, stuff you can't control. The Brewers keep doing what they're doing, and everything will be fine.
It's demoralizing for the Cubs, I'm sure, and for the Cubs fan base that that they were that hot, and you still only picked up 1 game. That's a great observation, Mike. Because you win 9 out of 10 and pick up one game in the division, you still feel like you're on a mountain trying to catch the Brewers at this point. So, just keep it going. Yeah, Murph has these guys just focusing on themselves and not really looking in the rearview mirror at all. Just continue to do that, and you should be able to not only take the division, but you should be able to secure that number 2 seed in the National League.
Digging closer to the number 1 seed.
Right.
Give me a sense of what today's matchup is, because if for anybody that loves pitching and dynamic pitching, today on paper is extraordinary.
My goodness. Yeah. So you're the Cincinnati Reds and you think, finally, we're going to be able to beat the Brewers. We got our ace on the mound, first round draft pick, number 2 overall pick a few years ago. And we're going to be able to beat him today because this guy is lights out. And he is. Chase Burns, 100-mile-per-hour fastball. You're going to see more 100-mile-per-hour fastballs today, maybe ever in the history of a game. 2 guys matching up that throw cheese. Chase Burns has a nasty slider. 2-pitch guy, gets away with it as a starter. Usually starters need that 3rd pitch, not this guy, because that slider is that good and the fastball is that good. So this is going to be – and then Miz is on the other side. So they're thinking, okay, we're going to be able to finally beat the Brewers. And then Miz, wait a minute, we have to face basically this circus freak, right? Because that's what Miz is. I mean, he's an absolute freak. We've never seen anything like it. He's been so good. Oh my goodness, it's fun to watch. This ballpark is going to be packed today. I actually just have to go to record a promo for the new Guess Who game, new Guess Who promo that's being handed out. That's all I got to do, and then I'm actually leaving because that. And I'll watch the game on TV because this game is going to be electric in that stadium. So the matchup is going to be awesome. Whoever really kind of makes the first mistake, I think, is going to lose this game. And I think the Reds historically this season so far, now 6-0 or 0-6, I should say, against the Brewers, have made a lot of mistakes. How about that mistake last night? 2nd and 3rd in the 6th inning, nobody out. They don't score. I mean, they just continue to shoot themselves in the foot. The Brewers will take it. That is a decent Reds team with a good starting pitching staff that the Brewers are just kind of dominating, and it's fun. It's fun to watch, obviously, for us, but they got to feel demoralized playing this team. My goodness.
Can I take you back to that play? Because we would look at it differently if it was a Brewers play. Was that on Spencer Steer or Eugenio Suarez? Because Steer didn't go right away. Pratt did a good job looking at him. He didn't go, went to first. And did Steer go because Eugenio Suarez was coming to third?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And as soon as Pratt looks you back, you have to stay. It was a great play for Pratt. Yeah. And so was it both of them, though, that were kind of like as soon as he went? Yeah, he might have saw – I actually missed that, Mike. I'll have to go back and look at that play because as soon as he saw him going to third, I think he took off because that was a complete
and he didn't need to. It was absolutely a mistake. But it's one of the things that the Brewers, for the most part, they've made mistakes on the bases, but for the most part, they don't beat themselves. The Brewers, they force other teams because of how fast they are into making errors, but the Brewers haven't made those egregious base running mistakes. Even last night on the bunt and the play at the plate, Mitchell's secondary lead might have needed to be another half step, but maybe he's safe, and it's just the vagaries of the rules when he's called out on the field. I still think there was plenty there to overturn it, but whatever. Replay is replay. The Brewers don't make those mistakes, I guess is the point, Vinny. They're really good. They're fundamentally strong, which is hard to do sometimes when you're really good, but I think it's part of the reason they're really good.
Murph doesn't allow it. He'll bench you. If you're making mistakes, you will not play. And if you're an older guy and make some mistakes, he'll kind of let that pass because he knows maybe it's an anomaly. Like, let's say, Yelich makes a base running mistake, which he never does. He's got incredible instincts on the bases. Right. Murph's not going to bench Yelich, right? So if you're Cooper Pratt, you make a mistake, or Sal Frelick, or we've seen it. Or David Hamilton. So we've seen him bench a guy and kind of teach him that lesson, or he'll just flat out. Here's the thing about Murph that everyone needs to understand. And I heard this directly from Matt Erickson. No, not Matt Erickson. One of the hitting coaches. He said, I said, why is David Hamilton all of a sudden bunting a lot? He's got 10 bunt hits. He had a total of 3 in the 3 years that he had with the Boston Red Sox before. He got 10 bunt hits in half a season this season. Why did all of a sudden he start bunting? He said, Murph will directly go up to a player and said, we want you to bunt here. Okay, so my point in saying this is other organizations, every single organization I ever played for, it had to go from the, let's say, the front office to the manager to then to the hitting coach or the base running coach or whatever, and then talk to the player. Hey, we want you to do this. Murph, that's not Murph.
Yeah.
So it's very different, and people don't understand. Like, maybe it's different in other sports. Well, you will have direct communication with your head coach or your manager or whatever. Not in baseball. It's weird this way, where everyone has their own role as a coach, and then you have meetings. Hey, go talk to this player about this. Now, Murph will tell you what he wants from you, and so that's what's very unique and different about Pat Murphy. And I think the messages get sent to players very clearly, and the communication is just phenomenal. And that's why you don't see, to your point, a lot of mistakes, and guys are, on the base. Base running is the most underrated thing in the game, and you can learn how to base run just by paying attention and really focusing on it. And so I think Murph makes sure that players understand how to run the bases. And if you don't, he will directly tell you where you made a mistake and how to get better.
Yeah, I think I can answer this question, but I'll let you answer it on the way out. Mike is asking you about Mitchell not sliding head first because of injuries. And I think the simple answer there is yes.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want him to. I never want to see Garrett Mitchell slide head first into a base again, because I think a couple of things. I think you can slide very aggressively with feet first, and you're not. I think subtly players slow down just a hair. Not everybody. When they're trying to go head first just to avoid injury, I think you can go hard and you can be aggressive, and you can be, maybe you're not going to be able to do the swim move and all that, right? And trying to avoid a tag. But I think I never want to see Garrett Mitchell. We need this guy healthy if he's going to play like this. So continue to slide feet first.
Vinny, going to be a lot of fun at the ballpark today. I always appreciate our visits. What's coming up for you? They've got a road trip coming after this series. After today, they won't be home until after the All-Star break. Are you on the roadie?
I'm not, actually. I got a little stretch off here, so I'll enjoy time with the family and enjoy the holiday. And I'll be watching. I'll be paying close attention though, and I'll be on next week with you. Yeah.
We'll look forward to that. Hey, Vinny, thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day. Steve Zabin is being added to the mix right here. There he is. Look at that beautiful man. How are you?
Yeah, boy.
Yes, look at you go.
Damn you, Heller. Hey, you make this look so damn easy. And by the way, congrats on all the sponsors. I love it. And my only gripe is, this is an I Love Mondays show, and we're taping this on a Friday. So
we're not taping. This is live.
It's live. We're live.
Every day of the week,
so
we're live.
It's called I Love Mondays.
It's called I Love Mondays, but it's Monday through Friday. We do it every single day. And then I do a Brewed Daily podcast at the end. Listen, I was given advice by a bunch of others, and I can see it by your head shake. Why the hell do you call this show I Love Mondays if it's on every day? Like, I got that from others.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you would have advised me to name it different. I could see it.
No, I think the name is mostly irrelevant, because there's a lot of unique names out there that, look, if you're putting out the content, people find it and they like it.
Yeah.
They're not going to care about the name. They're going to get it. Yeah. But it is a hook phrase of yours that you have always said, that you love Mondays. Most people hate Mondays, but us in the sports talk business love Mondays because they are always the heaviest with things to talk about, especially during football season.
Jovan says hi. Remember Jovan? He's the one that went down in the pool at Jamaica and suffered injuries, nearly had to be metaflighted out. And it wasn't the reason why we didn't continue. But you always said on the Sunburn Bowls that they would continue until somebody died, and then he tried to die.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Number one rule: don't die. If you die, we'll be sad for a few hours. We don't want to be sad for a few hours. Then we'd resume our drinking and partying. And then there would probably be no trips after that because they'd be like,
right.
Oh, we can't insure you because a guy died on the last
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah. He
Glad
tried
that
to die.
Gilvan is good.
Yeah. He still shows up and bugs me at Red and White on occasion. So, hey, welcome back.
Thank you.
Oh, we're doing all right. Yeah, we're doing all right at Red and White. More importantly, welcome back. This is Monday's the day. A little bit of excitement as you rejoin the radio forces in a perfect setup. You do an hour a day. An hour a day.
An hour, yes.
How good is that?
Back on the air. Well, I wouldn't mind more, but you take what you can get and then you figure it out from there. Yes, very excited to be back on the air in Milwaukee and statewide in Wisconsin on Odyssey's Wisconsin statewide network, but primarily on 105.7 The Fan in Milwaukee. This will now be the third different moniker of sports radio station I've worked for: the team, the game, the fan. I have three more to go. To go, Mike. The Score, the Ticket, and the Zone. If I can get all six, it'll be like Thanos and the Infinity Rings, and I'll be able to really call it a career.
And you're going to reunite with our boy Josh. I did Bowling with the Chumps earlier this year, and I've always been a big fan of Josh and what he brings to the plate. And you guys work together, and you're going to get a chance to do it again.
Yeah, no, that's great. Josh has been there doing the show with Trevor, and he is a hustler and he's a dreamer, and I love that about him. Sometimes because he hustles real hard and dreams a bit too big, it rubs people the wrong way, but that's okay. Just got to get him trimmed up and head in the right direction. But very excited for that, and we want to give people a good hour of radio every day until they either say, "Get out, you suck." You're done, or hey, this is good. We should maybe do a few more hours. We'll see what happens.
So you suffered a similar fate to me with our former employee with the iHeart Group. So what have you been doing since October? Was that your drop dead date?
Yeah.
Was at some point in October?
Yeah.
What's the world been doing with you since then?
I've been still doing my podcast, the Zabecast, and I have filled in on Odyssey's sports station in DC, 106.7 The Fan. I know all the guys there. It's a pretty established lineup that's doing well. They don't really have another competitive sports radio station in town. They own the other one, which is my former station, the Team 980 is an AM station. So I've just been filling in, but they've treated me very nice. And so I've been able to get in, play with a couple different shows, do some stuff, do some weekend work, do the podcast. And then once golf season came around, I've been playing golf. Can you tell by my lovely tan lines?
I can see where the tan lines stop.
Look at how bad that is. Jesus, this will never even out right here. It's unbelievable. And don't get me started on my Stewart sink. Look at the Stewart sink I got going. Light bulb.
A very, very Stewart sink. Yeah,
horrible.
Horrible. I always
have you been playing golf?
Not enough. This working for yourself stuff takes up more time than I thought it would. So there's a little bit of that. I always thought you were the mix between, not your golf game, because I've seen you play. You were the mix between Stewart Cink and Gary Woodland. Do you get some Gary Woodland?
I get a little Gary Woodland. I get a little bit of Hal Sutton.
Sure. Yeah.
You can see that sort of, but yeah. But I got the hair of Stewart Cink for sure. So
right. That. So I'm curious about your game then, as you've played more. Sometimes people play more and it doesn't get better, but you played more. So is it getting better?
It's getting better. Handicap's down to a 4 even. I had a great weekend at Aaron Hills. I actually won our little 12-man get together. It's a individual net max 9, so you can get your score running up pretty quick. And I actually broke 80 both days, 77 on greens at Aaron Hills that were faster than I've ever seen them. The course is in unbelievable condition. And they said, Jim Lombardo, the pro, said there that their superintendent tested the water, and the water, I guess, had some weird pH going on. So they changed that.
Really?
Mike, you got to get to Erin Hills. It's unreal right now. It's
Yeah.
always been great. It was tour good. So there was that, and I've lost a few pounds, and that doesn't always hurt. So, it's been better. It's been good.
Yeah, good for you. I was going to ask you, like, if you could, I was thinking to retell a little bit of your story. So you grew up on the mean streets of McLean, Virginia, but then you went to UCSB. So the two don't necessarily jive. All the way over there to all the way over there. What was the draw? What was the connect to flip coasts and go to the biggest party school on the planet? Maybe that's the connect.
No, it's a great question, and the answer is pretty simple. And that is, my grandfather set up college funds for all of his grandkids. Very generous, but he believed in education. So because of that, it unlocked me to not have to go to a state school, because that was pretty much all my parents were going to afford. And because I've got family in California, my mom's side of the family's in Lake Tahoe and that area, we kind of had California sort of in our blood. My brother, 2 years older than me, went to UC Berkeley, and I was kind of a copycat younger brother. And so I applied to Berkeley, UCLA, and then they said for the minimum price of applying to the UC system, which I think has 11 campuses, you can pick a third. It's like, just pick a third. And I'm like, Santa Barbara. I didn't know where, Mike, Santa Barbara was.
Right. Gorgeous.
So I get back the application. I applied all three, one push of the button, and, comes back. Berkeley said no. UCLA said no. Santa Barbara said, you're in. And here's a postcard. And I looked at the postcard, and I'm like, that's pretty. I wonder where the campus is. And they say, no, that is the campus. It's right
That is the campus.
on
Yes.
the ocean. Have you been out there to
It's
Santa
stupid.
Barbara?
My daughter Elizabeth went to school there for a year. So we took her out there. Yeah. She lived in Isla Vista, in one of those dorms with palm trees out your door.
Isla Vista Isla Vista is the single most densely populated square mile west of St. Louis, because it's all student apartments. And it's a tiny little grid of apartments right next to campus. And yes, there is a lot of partying that goes on in that little, 1 mile square area. But Santa Barbara was great. I just went out there because my parents were dumb enough to let me. And the sad thing is, I guess it's sad, Mike, is that I don't really keep in touch with my roommates and buddies and floor hockey teammates from college, because after I was done at UCSB, I got the job, great job, as the play-by-play voice for the basketball team. So I did that. Right. I did a little AM radio station out there for about 3.5, 4 years. KTMS. Yes, you're looking at my looking at my resume. And something about the rhythms of the East Coast and the seasons called me. That, you're like, why would you leave Santa Barbara? Well, first of all, SantaArbara is very expensive. It is a very small market. So it's not a market where you're going to kind of like grind and rise your way up. So it was either be this fish in a small pond and stay there. And I just kind of was like, I want to go back east. So I left after 4 years. I had great memories. I really should keep in touch with some of the people from college. I just haven't been back in a long time. And now I couldn't get into the school because the academic standards are actually higher. So good thing I got in and got out when I did.
Timing was good. Timing was great. If you could life DVR it, would you go back to the time on Isla Vista or back into one-on-one sports in Chicago?
Boy, they were both great times. I don't know if I'd change either one. When I went to one-on-one sports in Chicago, I'd gotten the job. I was getting paid $35,000 a year, which was like big money for me. 1994. I stared at the offer sheet going, oh my God, I'm rich. Packed up my Honda Accord to literally up to the windows with everything I had in it. And I drove out to Chicago on August 12th, 1994, the day, Mike, baseball shut down for the strike. You remember that day?
Seriously. Yeah, I was working in Memphis.
I knew literally nobody in Chicago. I had one of the producers at the network hook me up with somebody who was willing to rent a room to me down in the Wrigleyville area. Yeah. And it was kind of scary. And I was like, what am I doing here? But it was fun as hell. And the network was a fledgling network that was located out in Northbrook. And it was running out of just a sort of a industrial park. So you wouldn't even know where it is. It's like, these storage units and a printing company and a shipping company. And then boom, the radio network. And that's where we did the shows out of. And there were some pretty interesting characters that worked there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go on the same life DVR question. I want to get into the today stuff here in a minute, but if you could go back and relive a round of golf you played, so I've always been a big fan of this. It's a good conversation piece at dinners or whatever. You could life DVR and go back and live a day. And for you, if it had to be a round of golf, can you go back? Where would you go back to and replay a round of golf? Everything's going to be the same, but you get to relive the whole deal. What is it?
That one's tough because I have both been blessed to have played a ton of great rounds at great places. And I also make sure that I make myself go do that. I have no shame in saying this is what I love to do. I'm going to make sure I steer myself onto magical rounds. I just recently, last summer, I played Royal Dornoch in northern Scotland, up in the Highlands. And it was this beautiful, calm, sunny day, and the course is amazing. The Royal Dornoch is so good that Ben Crenshaw, when he played the British Open one year, went on a side trip up there prior to playing the Open. And when he got to play the Open, the media asked him, so what'd you think? And Crenshaw, being that, kind of awe gushing kind of shucks guy, he's like, man, I tell you what, it was incredible. I almost didn't come back. He said, I almost didn't come back. So that was a phenomenal day weather-wise. I played great, shot 75, and you're just up in this part of the Scottish Highlands it's not remote, but you're out of the way. Like you're not in the hustle bustle of civilization. And I was there with, 11 other dudes on a guy's trip. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to jump into the real sports stuff, the area code I live in. What does success look like for the Brewers at the end of the year? Because you can't paint a more successful first half.
Great question. Because I think we had this discussion on the air, on the show, as they approach the playoffs. So what is the bar for success? And some people firmly believe that they got to make the World Series. Some people believe they've got to win the World Series because of that still unfulfilled yearning for the 82 team that came so close and is still revered in Milwaukee and Wisconsin. In today's climate, though, and today's landscape, I don't know. I felt like last year was a huge success because they were a great team, fun team, entertaining team, and they won a series. They won a series that was not just a wild card series. And they beat their arch rival, the stinking Cubs. I mean, that's a good season. But this is an argument I've had in sports radio in various places with various teams in various sports. And because the notion of, well, if we don't win the championship, it's not successful. Well, that's dumb because only one team wins every year. And unless you're the freaking Yankees, that should never be your bar per se.
Yeah.
I think this year, it's kind of the same because I think, unfortunately, there's this Dodgers problem, which maybe the new CBA deals with and fixes. Maybe it wipes out next year. I hope not. I pray not. But what the Brewers are doing again this year, and with the Miz factor, which is unbelievable. And I saw today, it looks like he's not going to start in the All-Star game, which
they'll get him two more starts. Yeah, they're gonna get him two more starts. And the way he's lined up, he'd pitch the day before in Pittsburgh, before the All-Star break. And I think that's what franchises have to do. And it's not like it was when we were growing up where you kind of rob the rest of Major League Baseball a chance to see Miz. If you're a baseball fan, you've seen Miz.
They know.
Come on.
Right. Do you have a phone and social media? Trust me, you've seen plenty.
Come on.
Of Miz. So already what they're doing this year, and there's still more young studs coming, as
Oh,
you
my
know.
gosh. Yeah.
You would be out
They
there
have
in
more in
spring
the top
training.
100 than they have more in the top 100 than any team in baseball. I believe there are 8 or 9 in the top 100.
Right.
So yeah, they're loaded, and that leads people into, okay, then trade 2 of them and a player and go get Scooble or go get Ryan or go get what you need. Some say a bat. I don't think there's a bat out there. However, if you're going to go get a pitcher, the problem with Scooble is that the Dodgers and Yankees are playing. They're going to swim in those waters too.
Yeah.
But the Brewers have more to trade. I mean, there's no doubt that the Brewers have a better stable of prospects to deal from. They just won't have the chance to re-sign him. If the Yankees or Dodgers trade for him, they'll also have a really good chance to re-sign him.
When is Scooble up?
This is it. He's a rental.
Oh,
he's got a new deal coming. Yeah.
I objectively don't like doing that. Even though the Brewers have a visceral, this worked before in the case of CC Sabathia. Example to draw on. I just think CC was cut differently. I mean, the way he went out there like a freaking horse, knowing he was going right into free agency.
Right.
Like when they honored him this year,
yeah,
I thought that was really cool. And some people are like, why are you putting his number and name up in your ring of honor? And I said to people at the time, I go, you need to bone up on what he meant and how he played and how he pitched when he was there briefly. Because few athletes would have done what he did. So I don't know.
I don't know the guy that would do that. Certainly wouldn't do it today.
And it's funny because the Scooble thing, on the Scooble thing, so one of the guys my boy Wolfie, loves the Brewers. Hates Scooble. Like literally spits on his name. You know why?
Wow.
Because Scooble bowed out of the World Baseball Classic.
Oh,
and Wolfie's like, you complete, you know what? You should pitch for Team USA. And so that is a running bit of commentary on a group chat because he just hates Scooble. So what would happen if they did acquire him? I guess my boy Wolfie would have to swallow hard and be a big fan for half a year.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll make
what
a
do you
move
think they need?
Well,
what are you banging the drum for? I respect your opinion on this more than
another arm in the bullpen. That law firm of Ashby, Uribe, and McGill is fantastic, but they're pitching a lot. And if you got another arm to sit in that role, now I don't think they're going to go get the biggest name on the market, but if you've got another, like a Jared Koenig has been for them in recent years, I think that would go a long way because if they're healthy, and that's the big if, because you're counting on Woodruff. But if you go Miz, Harrison, Woodruff, you don't need a fourth starter. The problem is that Woodruff has twice gotten to the doorstep of the postseason and then been wiped off the roster because of injury. And it's killed the franchise. Not his fault, but it's killed the franchise twice. So, and I think people wanted to see what Scooble would do. And I think the Brewers want to see how Woodruff continues to recover and take the ball every 5th or 6th day. Because in his first 2 starts since he's been back, he's gone 12 innings and given up 2 hits and no runs.
Which is amazing because when the power went out on his arm, I'm like, okay, that's it. He's done. Like, it sucks, but this is a sad, sad ending to a guy who has fought his way back. But now he's back again, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and he's figured out how to get people out throwing 93, topping out at 94. There's no more there. He can't go get 97. It's not in the tank anymore. But he's always been really smart. Now he's sequencing and going up and down and in and out, all the things that they have to do. All right, let me shift into
it's another fun summer. And I remind people when they went nuts, when they got angry at Atanasio for the quote about, my goal is to provide, an entertaining fun summer for Brewer fans.
Yeah.
Right. There was a certain segment of the fan base that went crazy at that. And I'm like, what do you want him to say? Do you want him to just buy into we're going to win the World Series? Man, you're Milwaukee. You got to at some point be realistic. And what he has done is he's empowered really smart baseball people to deliver a highly entertaining and winning baseball team from the first gun in April all the way through to the postseason. And you will someday, if you live long enough and root for a sports team, you will someday beg for the kind of glory days they're in right now. So
bang, 100% accurate. And when people misinterpreted I'm not telling people how to fan, but when they misinterpreted what he said to provide entertaining summers as though they were bringing the circus to town and great bands and better food. And no, it means that they're really good. That's what entertainment is. That they win a lot of damn games, and that's what they have done every year. And last year, the only reason that people forget about is because of the end, is that they didn't win a game against the Dodgers. But they were the best team in baseball at 97 wins, and then they just ran into the best team playing the best baseball, right? I mean, the best team money can buy right now is, again, in Los Angeles. And if they're playing their best, you're not going to beat them. But the Brewers are going to be able to knock on that door.
It was such a tease last year because they were able to draw blood on the Dodgers in the regular season, but that was with a ton of asterisks that you had to kind of ignore for injuries. In fact, it was regular season. Then when it came time for it to matter, it's like the Brewers got stuffed in a locker, and it just felt awful. You're like, oh God.
Let me shift north, and the Packers begin training camp later this month in Green Bay. And I've had this conversation on more than one occasion this summer. When we talk about what success looks like for Green Bay, one of two things has to happen. Either they have to win the division and advance to the NFC Championship, or if they don't win the division, they've got to advance to the NFC Championship. Because if they're a wild card and out, I think the head coach who just signed an extension is also out. What does success look like for the Packers? Yeah, I think LaFleur, if they lost a wild card game, I think he's gone. Regardless, the extension doesn't matter. You know that as well as I do. That just because they put dollars on the contract, they can absorb those dollars. The Packers have money.
They can, although I don't know if the Packers throw money around like other franchises. I think they tend to be a bit conservative. I think they could miss the playoffs this year for sure. I think they are in very dangerous waters right now because the team is now all sort of a little bit out of form as to what they were trying to do. And they're going to try to make do. They've figured out here's the receivers we're going to count on. And that's mostly a Watson, Golden, with hopefully Tucker Kraft coming off his injury type of rotation. And with Jaden Reed, guess what? All those guys get hurt. Except for Golden. Yeah. Golden's still pretty young, but I mean, like you're putting a lot of stock into three guys that got hurt a lot. Yeah. So that concerns me. Parsons coming back and being as explosive and dominant as he was concerns me. I am so not a fan of the fact that Keyshawn Nixon is still even on the team after he opted out of a goal line tackle against the Bears in a playoff game. But he provides stability and veteran leadership, they say. And I'm like, okay, can he cover anybody? Does he play hard? So that concerns me. I love Jordan Love. I think LaFleur is a great schemer and play caller. But when the games are in the crucible of the final minutes, he does not manage it well. His timeout usage is still abhorrent. They lose their D coordinator, Hafley, who I thought did a lot of good things. Yeah. I just see a lot of real dangers. Doesn't mean they won't be good. Doesn't mean they don't have a lot going there. Oh, and they got Jacobs, who's a year old and a year more worn down at running back. And nobody really else. There's nobody else really frisky. By the way, poor Marshawn Lloyd. Every time I look up, I'm like, I know.
Now we've never seen him. We've never seen him play a regular season game, and from what we hear, he'd be fantastic. He's like the Eddie Lee Ivory of the Green Bay Packers that played like 3 regular season games because of 2 knee blows on Soldier Field in Chicago when it used to be a carpet.
I would say like the last 4 years, they've looked better on paper. They've looked loaded on paper going into camp, and they weren't able to really do much with it. This year, they look definitely more in flux, which doesn't necessarily mean anything because every season is a uniquely wrapped individual episode that unfolds as it does. So we shall see.
Are you guys going to buy the trailer from
buy it from iHeart. You know what? We're just going to wait them out. We're going to say, seriously. I'm going to tell Josh, I'm going to say, hey, we should offer him $100 for the channel.
What are they doing with it?
It's all for $100. Nothing. It's nothing. No, they're
going to be in
probably paying insurance on it. Like I'm telling you, we'll get it for $100 when it's all said.
Yeah, you will.
They'll just dump it. They'll just dump it.
Go get it. Just change the color scheme in the logo.
Yeah, but then here's the problem. Then we have to have it.
Then you have to do it.
We have
well,
to maintain it. We have to insure it. We have to track it. But it's so good, though, isn't it? It's such a discussion piece.
It's so fantastic. Let me finish on replay. They went to the VAR on the red card the other day for USA, and they still couldn't get it right.
Hold on. I thought you were going to bring up last night's VAR in the Croatia-Portugal game.
Yeah, well, that VAR said that the ball hit the hair of the Croatian player, and thus when it did, the other Croatian player's offsides. Listen, I don't understand offsides in world's football very often anyway, but
I don't either.
You get a kick out of every one that they don't get right or you think they didn't get right. I always think, oh, Zabe's having a field day now.
Listen, I'm at the point where everyone is pretty much outraged that this incredible moment in the World Cup, Croatia battling their guts out in stoppage time to tie mighty Portugal and Ronaldo 2-2. And it's like, it hit his hair. And you're like, oh, yeah, didn't look like it. Ball didn't change direction. Spin didn't change. And they're like, well, we've got a microchip in the ball. And here's a graph showing a little blip of the chip sensing contact. And that is the biggest load of crap ever. But this is what apparently some people want. And so when people are complaining, I just put my hands up and I go, hey, man, I've already said what I've said about replay.
Yeah.
It's overrated as hell. These games are just for fun. I want to revel in the moment. Referees are on the field with two eyeballs and the ability to correct egregious things.
You must love
There's going to be a ton of close calls.
Right? You must love ABS with all of this.
ABS is an interesting niche, Mike, because it's so binary and it's so static, and they can leverage technology, and it's also so quick, which is helpful.
Yeah, very quick.
But they get a lot of those. There's a lot of catchers and pitchers whiffing on their challenges. You just don't see this.
Yeah. Just wait till ABS goes to an auto review in the 9th inning or later. Because
it probably will.
Coming, it's coming. I mean, the NFL doesn't allow you to challenge inside of 2 minutes. Everything's booth. In Major League Baseball, I think you'll get to the 9th inning and extra innings, and they'll say all ball and strike calls are reviewed with ABS. You don't get the only thing that.
Right. The only thing that I guess I'm more palatable towards ABS is that it is very quick and it's just very black or white. Was it in or out? And we have learned there's a lot of really crap umpires. You've known this being a big baseball guy for a long time. There's a lot of umpires that are an absolute menace to the strike zone. And so now they're being trimmed up, which is not a bad thing.
It forced CB Buckner out of the game. I mean, Angel Hernandez gone. Yeah, but CB Buckner earlier this year, he's the one that missed the call at first base with Jake Bauers for the Brewers, who he called out for not hitting first base when he stepped directly on the top of the bag, and it went to replay. And then the next
did Buckner take a leave of absence? He didn't
the
quit.
Next day he got hit by a foul tip and left the game with a concussion, and he's never come back. But
he's still out.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to finish with this. I want to be aware of your time because I know you've got stuff going on. So
that's right. One more thing about Buckner. That's the ultimate ball don't lie. I believe in ball don't lie. Butchie does not believe in ball don't lie. I believe that was a ball don't lie for screwing up the call the day before. Not that I would wish a concussion on him, but since he's not been back, I would say, Mr. Buckner, take a good look when you get a chance at the union's severance packages and their retirement benefits. Yeah. Because, retirement could suit you, CB.
Very well. Very well. Hey, Zabe, thanks for saying yes to come doing this. I know that the Milwaukee market and statewide, we're all thrilled to have you back. I'm glad that you're
not everyone.
Yeah.
Many are thrilled. Many are thrilled. Many are thrilled.
Not all of them, no. Certainly not all of them.
You said we're all glad to have you back, and I'm like,
well, I meant in our
So.
circle of people.
Oh, in our circle, even in our circle, not everyone's thrilled.
I misspoke.
I know,
Some of us.
Well, I'm glad to be back, and I look forward to coming up to your fine club to once again smuggle in some Southern
smuggle
minis.
something in. I miss those days of you pouring your own.
Great. That's the round I want to replay. Me, you, and Butchie, with me getting busted for my smuggled in liquor. That's what
exactly. Yeah. Look forward to it. Dave, happy 4th to you and yours. Appreciate you doing this. We'll be listening Monday morning.
All right. Thank you, Mike. I'll see you soon up there.